Welcome back to my frozen shop here. This episode we're going to be doing a little service on marvelous Kubota L3560. I'm going to change the oil, hydro filters, air filter, and fuel filter. So stick with me, we'll get her done. Well, now all we got left is to do the hydro filters. So let's get at that. So you can do this one of two ways. You can do it the expensive way or the inexpensive way. So when you yank these hydro filters, which they're the two new filters right there, the other ones obviously are under the tractor, and we'll get to that in a minute, but it's easier to talk and point out everything out here. So anyways, when you drop those filters, your oil is going to come out in a deluge, which, okay, you know, replace the oil until you realize that Kubota Super UDT2 hydraulic transmission oil is $25 a gallon. And this thing probably holds, I'm gonna take a wild guess and say 15 gallons. So you can do it the really expensive way, or you can do it this way. So what you do is you get a shop vac, and you gotta have a small hose like this or an adapter. You pull this plug, which is where you would fill the hydraulic fluid. That's a vent plug combination rubber stopper thing. Pull that out, jam your shop vac hose in there, and you know, make sure it's in there good and tight. Make sure your dipstick is pushed in too, because otherwise it won't draw enough vacuum. And you hook that up to your shop vac, and then you turn your shop vac on, and other than having to listen to it, you won't spill much fluid. So I guess there's nothing to it but to do it. Let's get going. So hopefully you can hear me. You probably can't hear me over that shop vac, but here are the filters right here. Now, you don't have to do both of these every time, but in order to get this one, you have to take this one out. So you might as well just do them both and be done with it. Of course, they're not exactly cheap, but nothing about owning this thing has been cheap. So there, that one, we cracked that one loose. We're gonna crack this one loose because you're gonna want to kind of do this as quickly as you can. Oh, of course that one's on there. Oh my goodness. Alright, well I had to admit defeat that other filter wrench. Let's try this one. Oh my gosh. There we go. They don't make oil filter wrenches like they used to, so now I get to buy a new one of those, but you want to get your drain pan because you will lose a little bit. But you won't lose near as much as if you didn't have the shop vac going. Kind of sucks because that shop vac is awfully freaking loud. If you didn't have the shop vac, this would be pouring out in a stream. Gotta get this one off. I think when we pull this one off, you'll get a little more than you got with the first one, but hoses for the backhoe are right in the way. Alright, so they're off. So I want to crack the new one. There's a magnet in here, which first time I did that, I had to pull it back off because I wasn't sure if there was a magnet still. But it is. Magnet does come in the new filter. I already wrote the hours on it. Not that you'll be able to see it, but it's on there. And then it's like anything. Just snug it up, snip it up a little with this guy. Don't go crazy. But being that you can't really torque it by hand because it's wet and slippery and it's in an awkward spot. So then we got the other one here. We want to smear a little oil on the O-ring. I didn't do it on the last one, but if you don't tell anybody, I won't either. Get this guy up on there. Like I say, I really hope that you can hear me over that freaking shot back. I can't wait to shut that thing off. You gotta be careful putting it on there because if you cross-thread it, I'm sure that the pieces to fix it are very expensive. Plus, you're gonna lose all your oil unless you want to run your shot back all night. The way things are right now, I'm sure that it'll be months before you got a new one. There we go. Now we're cooking. Kind of a long-winded filter, but it's pretty important filter. Anything to do with hydraulics ain't cheap. You lose that filter, everything goes away. Like we did with the other one, we'll use this guy to snip him up a little because he's all slippery. And there's that. Make sure this one's snug. Alright, now we gotta slither our big ass out of here and shut that shot back off. Well there, now that we can hear again, shut that shot back off. You want to kind of wipe these guys off. Wipe off everything you can because you'll see if, you know, you'll get drips on the floor and think you've got a leak, and really all it is just running residual stuff off. You just kind of want to wipe them off. And I wrote the hours and whatever on the bottom of the filter. Probably should have wrote it on the side, but I'm not going to crawl under here and look anyways. So there's that, and you just kind of want to make sure those lines, I almost ought to tuck them up, put a zip tie on them or something so they don't get ripped off in the woods, because that would suck too. But yeah, so there is how you do the hydro filters. And like I said, you can do it that way or you can do it the expensive way and buy the $25 a gallon oil, and that is all that they recommend for their transmission, which there's guys that try to do it cheaper all the time, but I mean, to each their own. I ain't doing it. So anyways, now we got to reconvene. We'll have to check the fluid. We'll have to start it up and let it fill everything up, obviously, and then we'll have to check the fluid level, make sure that's copacetic, and we should be done. Now you want to get this guy out of there and get this hole plugged before crap falls in there. And like I said, we're just going to check it quick, and then we'll have to start it, and then we'll check it. And this stuff is so clear, you probably can't even see it. I can barely see it, but it's right in the middle of the hash mark. So I have a gallon of it from the first time I did this. I'll have to find it because it's going to take some once we start it up. But let me start it up off camera, and then we'll check it again. Hopefully you can hear me, it's running. Find a rag, I had a rag. This stuff's so clear you can't barely see it. down below the add mark, so we'll have to add probably a quart or two. I didn't have to add any the first time I did them. So anyways, that's how you would change the hydro filters on one of these. Just how I showed you, and then you would check it, you know, let it run, keep checking it, and then you probably want to roll it back and forth a few times, and make sure, you know, the other filter's full and everything, and then you just want to adjust your level accordingly. I don't think I need to show you how to do that, but that's how you do the hydro filters on a Kubota L3560. So remember, if you watch the oil change part of this that I did, I talked about the magnetic, or the round magnet that I got. It comes out of this hydro filter right here, so it's not a bad idea to take it out, clean it up, you know, take a look at it, and I mean, throw it on the shelf. There's quite a bit of crap on there, but not as much as the first service. The first service was pretty rough. So yeah, it doesn't hurt to take that out and clean it up, throw it on the shelf. I mean, you never know when you need a nice little round magnet like that. So I adjusted my fluid level in the back there, just how I showed you, and this UDT, Super UDT2 fluid gets everywhere and does not come off. So that pretty much concludes the service. The next thing you want to do is you want to check your lug nut torque on the front and the back, and you want to grease it. Obviously there's a bunch on the loader, but I took the loader off, but there's a grease fitting. It's on the other side, but there's a grease fitting on the pivot right here, and there's a grease fitting, it's on this side right there. Those are very, very, very important to keep those greased, because they're the axle pivot, and that axle pivot's a lot more than you'd think. So you want to make sure that those are greased regularly. It says in the book to grease the loader and everything every 10 hours. I'd be lying if I said I did mine every 10 hours, but I do it probably more than I should. And I use Kubota grease, the Molly-Lithium Kubota grease. So anyways, you want to grease them. You can grease your 3-point. If I had the loader on, I would grease that. Another thing that doesn't hurt, pull this screen out, which I don't know if I can do this one-handed. Pull this screen out. You'll get a bunch of crap right down here at the bottom. You want to blow all that out, and then I also took a blowgun. I already did this, but I took a blowgun and I blew the radiator and the coolers out, just because. You want to take a look at your coolant level while it's in here. I'm also going to check my tire pressure. I think my backs are a little soft, but if you have loaded tires, you have to get the valve stem at the very top, because if you don't have loaded tires, you need loaded tires, but you're going to want to put the valve stem at the very top, because if it's anywhere but the very top, when you go to put air in it, it's going to shoot that fluid out, which this is with rim guard, not the calcium. Oh, what else do you want to do? You're going to want to, obviously check your oil level one last time. Just kind of walk around and anything visual, Another thing that doesn't hurt to do periodically, which I will do also, is make sure these are tight. When I first got this tractor, I ran it for probably, 20 hours or so, and I went through, and just about every one of those had worked loose. So it doesn't hurt to check the torque on those as well. All those specs are in your book. Check, all these back here as well. Just doesn't hurt to throw a torque wrench on. And you got grease fittings here. There's 4 of them here on the 3-point. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not going to bore you with greasing it, but that's pretty much it. I'm trying out a new camera here too, so hopefully it's not all completely screwed up. But anyways, as always, thanks for watching, and there'll be a little bit more content with this tractor. Probably shoot a video on taking the loader on and off and the backhoe on and off. But anyways, like I said, as always, guys, thanks for watching.